Alright, you lovely lot, and a massive hello and welcome to the Great North Gardener. My name's Albert, and today, oh boy, have I got a treat for you. We're diving headfirst into the wonderful, and sometimes a bit spiky world of roses. But not just any roses, oh no. We're talking about growing stunning roses even in chilly northern climates. Sounds bonkers, right? Roses in the cold? But trust me, it's doable, and I'll show you how. This video is your ultimate how-to guide. Let's get those gardens looking incredible, shall we? Right then, let's crack on. Right then, first things first, if you want roses that are going to absolutely smash it up north, you've got to pick the right teammates, haven't you? Not all roses are created equal, especially when it comes to dealing with a bit of a nip in the air or a proper frosty morning. Some are delicate little divas, and others are proper tough cookies. We, my friends, are looking for the tough cookies, the horticultural SAS of the rose world, if you will. These are the varieties that laugh in the face of a bit of cold. So, what are we talking about here? Well, you'll want to look for roses specifically labeled as hardy. Think of things like shrub roses, rugosa roses. Those guys are practically indestructible, seriously. Canadian Explorer Series roses are another brilliant shout. They were literally bred for cold climates, so they know what they're doing. David Austin. English roses can also be surprisingly tough, but always check the specific variety's hardiness rating. It's usually on the label, or you can ask at the garden centre. Alright team, we've picked our champion roses, but even the toughest rose needs a good home. Soil preparation is key. Think of a rich, crumbly chocolate cake texture. The secret ingredient is organic matter, well-rotted manure, garden compost, leaf mold. This will improve your soil structure. Soil's prepped and looking gorgeous, like a 5-star hotel bed for our roses. Now for the main event, getting those beauties into the ground. Timing is key. Plant in late autumn or early spring. Autumn planting lets roots establish before winter. Spring planting gets them going as it warms up. Avoid planting in scorching summer or when the ground is frozen or waterlogged. Water-potted roses an hour before planting. Tease out circling roots to help them spread in their new home. Chapter 4. Alright, our roses are in the ground, looking all snug and promising. But just like us, they need a good drink to keep them happy, especially when they're getting established and during those warmer, drier spells. Watering seems simple, right? Just point the hose and go. Well, yes and no. There's a bit of an art to watering roses correctly, especially in our varied northern climate where one week it's chucking it down and the next it's surprisingly sunny. The golden rule for watering roses is to water deeply and less frequently, rather than a little bit every day. When you water deeply, you encourage the roots to grow deeper into the soil to search for moisture. Deeper roots mean a more resilient plant, one that's better able to cope with dry spells and, you guessed it, those chilly winters. If you only give them a light sprinkle on the surface, the roots will stay shallow, making the plant much more vulnerable. So, how much is deeply? Well, you want the water to penetrate at least 12 to 18 inches down into the soil. For a newly planted rose, you'll probably need to water it every 2 to 3 days for the first few weeks, unless it's been raining cats and dogs, of course. Chapter 5. Alright, plant parents, let's talk about something that often scares new rose growers, but is actually one of the most brilliant things you can do for your plants: pruning. It might seem a bit brutal, taking the secateurs to your beloved roses, like giving them a super short haircut they didn't ask for. But trust me, proper pruning is like a spa day for your roses. It encourages fresh new growth, more flowers, better air circulation, which means fewer diseases, and helps maintain a nice shape. It's basically magic. Now, the main pruning session for most roses, especially up north, happens in late winter or early spring. We're talking late February to early April, just as the worst of the frosts are over, but before the plant bursts into vigorous growth. You're looking for when the little buds on the stem start to swell, but haven't quite opened. Pruning too early can expose new cuts to frost damage, and pruning too late means you're cutting off growth the plant has already wasted energy on. So, timing is key, as always. What are we actually aiming to do when we prune? Well, first off, you want to remove any dead, damaged, or diseased wood. These are the bits that are brown or black, look a bit manky, or are clearly broken. Chapter 6. Right then, our roses are planted, watered, and beautifully pruned. They're looking sharp, But to really get them to perform like the superstars they are, to produce those masses of stunning, fragrant blooms we all dream of, they need food. Roses are quite hungry fellas, proper greedy guts, especially during their growing and flowering season. So regular fertilizing is an absolute must if you want to see them at their blooming best. Think of fertilizer as a power-packed meal for your roses. It provides them with all the essential nutrients they need to grow strong stems, healthy leaves, and most importantly, loads and loads of flowers. The main nutrients they crave are nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for strong roots and flower production, and potassium for overall plant health and flower quality. You'll often see these represented as NPK on fertilizer packaging. There are loads of different types of rose food out there. You can get specialized rose fertilizers, which are formulated with the perfect balance of nutrients for roses. All right, green-fingered warriors, we've done so much to make our roses happy, but sometimes uninvited guests turn up to the party. I'm talking about pests, aphids, black spot, powdery mildew, the usual suspects that can try and spoil our rosy ambitions. But don't you worry, we're not going to let them win. With a few clever tricks and a bit of vigilance, we can keep these nuisances under control and our roses looking absolutely fabulous. First up, the dreaded aphids. Those tiny little green or black flies that love to suck the sap out of fresh new shoots and flower buds. You'll often find them clustered on the tips of the stems. One of the easiest and most eco-friendly ways to deal with them is a strong jet of water from your hose. Just blast them off. They're not very good climbers, so many won't make it back. You can also squish them with your fingers if you're not too squeamish. Very satisfying, I must say. Right then, we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of top-tier rose care now. And one of the simplest, yet most brilliant things you can do for your roses, especially in our challenging northern climates, is mulching. Think of mulch as a cozy blanket for the soil around your roses. It does so many good things. It's like a multitasking superhero for your garden beds. Honestly, if you're not mulching, you're missing a trick. So what exactly is mulch? Well, it's basically any material that you spread on top of the soil surface. We're primarily talking about organic mulches here. Things like well-rotted garden compost, leaf mold, shredded bark, wood chips, or even straw. These organic mulches not only do all the good stuff we're about to talk about, but they also slowly break down and improve the soil structure and fertility over time. Bonus. One of the biggest benefits of mulching is moisture retention. All right, my hardy northern gardeners, this chapter is absolutely crucial for us. We've chosen tough roses, we've planted them deep, but when those proper northern winters roll in, with biting winds, deep freezes and heavy snow, our beloved roses might still need a bit of extra help to see them through safely. Winter protection is all about giving them the best possible chance to survive the onslaught and bounce back beautifully in spring. It's like building a little fortress for each rose. The first line of defense, as we've mentioned, is choosing hardy varieties and planting the graft union, if it's a grafted rose, a few inches below soil level. This already gives them a massive advantage. Good autumn cleanup is also important. Remove any fallen leaves from around your roses, especially if they had any signs of disease like black spot during the summer. Right then, we've covered so much, from picking the perfect rose to tucking it in for winter. But growing stunning roses isn't just about those big seasonal jobs. It's also about the little bits of regular TLC, the ongoing maintenance that keeps them looking their best and performing like champions all year round. Think of it as the daily or weekly check-ins, the little attentions that make all the difference. This is what separates a good rose garden from a truly spectacular one. One of the most rewarding regular tasks is deadheading. That's a fancy term for removing spent flowers. Once a rose bloom has faded and started to look a bit sad and droopy, snip it off. You usually cut back to the first 5-leaflet leaf, making your cut just above an outward-facing bud if possible. Why do this? Well, it stops the plant from putting energy into producing seeds, rose hips, and instead encourages it to produce more flowers. So, regular deadheading means more blooms for longer. It also keeps the plant looking tidy. And there we have it, folks. 10 pro tips to grow stunning roses, even in chilly northern climates. From picking the perfect variety and prepping your soil, to pruning like a pro and winter protection, we've covered a lot today. I hope this guide has inspired you to create your own rose paradise. Remember, gardening is about experimenting and learning as you go. Don't be disheartened if things don't go perfectly. Even experienced gardeners have their moments. Observe your plants, give them what they need and enjoy the process. The beauty of a blooming rose is a special thing, especially up north. I'm chuffed you joined me, so get out there and get those hands dirty. I'd love to see your rose adventures and hear about your successes or challenges. Tell us in the comments and like and subscribe. It helps the channel and you won't miss more tips from the Great North Gardener. Until next time, happy gardening, and may your roses be ever blooming.